Welcome back, everyone. Today we have a video that I enjoy doing every year. It's a potential breakout list for NFL teams. Now this time we have the 2021 list, and as I always do, I'll go over the results from the previous years. So I had 5 teams last year. First one was the Pittsburgh Steelers, who went from 8-8 to 12-4. Definitely an improvement there. Some fans believe that Ben Roethlisberger would not look the same. I figured he would. He had a good season overall statistically, but definitely fell off towards the end. But the Steelers did improve from their 2019 season. Now, the Buccaneers from 7-9 to 11-5, that one's pretty self-explanatory, but there were some people out there that did not buy into the Bucs when Tom Brady went over there. The Arizona Cardinals, they did improve from 5-10-1 to 8-8, but they did miss the playoffs, so I don't really consider that one a win for myself. The Cleveland Browns definitely got that one right, 6-10 to 11-5, making it all the way to the AFC divisional round. And then, of course, the Denver Broncos, who actually got worse, 7-9 to 5-11. Drew Lock definitely held them back. They had a lot of defensive injuries, but I do believe the Broncos may have a bounce back year here in 2021. So anyway, with that said, let's get into the list of 2021 teams and leave in the comments teams that you think can break out in this 2021 season. Team number 1 I have is the New England Patriots, who were 7-9 last year. That is a bad record for a Bill Belichick team, but it was a very rough season to kind of build on the fly once Tom Brady left for Tampa Bay. But they brought in Cam Newton. It did not exactly go the way they wanted it to go, and once Cam Newton came back from his COVID absence, he was not the same quarterback. But they did make a ton of offseason additions, and this should be a 10-win team in my opinion, somewhere around there. Definitely not as bad as 7-9. So the additions they made is linebacker Dante Hightower. He's been on the Patriots for a long time. He missed last year due to a COVID opt-out. He'll be back and healthy. Getting wide receivers Nelson Agholor and Kendrick Bourne should help them, of course. Nelson Agholor is not going to be a wide receiver one anytime soon, but he can take the top off of defense, and Kendrick Bourne will help them in the red zone. Defensive end Henry Anderson from the Jets, pretty solid player, had a really nice year a couple years ago. They also got Trent Brown back, who was actually once a Patriot, and they got him from the Raiders, so he will be their right tackle as long as he's healthy. Defensive tackle Devon Godchaux, he's good against the run. Tight end Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, two very good tight ends right there to help a tight end room that's been very bad since Rob Gronkowski retired. They got outside linebacker Matthew Judon with the Ravens, who's been very good the past few years. Their center and guard Ted Karras, he was actually once a Patriot as well. He's a very good depth piece for that team. Cornerback and safety Jalen Mills, he'll be used everywhere in that secondary. They got him from the Eagles. They get linebacker Kyle Van Noy back, also from the Dolphins. Of course, they drafted Mac Jones, and this season does come down to Mac Jones. How NFL ready is he? I think he is. He throws guys open. He reads defenses very well. He knows the playbook by now. Very smart kid. And basically, if Mac Jones has the blocking, he will be a good quarterback in my opinion. There may be some rookie mistakes he makes here and there, but overall, he will protect the ball, and I think he'll be more of a positive than a negative in his first year. They also got Christian Barmore, Ronnie Perkins, and Ramondre Stevenson, who played out of his mind in the preseason in the draft. Their key losses, of course, were cornerback Jason McCourty, definitely up there in age and now playing for the Dolphins, and quarterback Cam Newton, of course, was released very recently. So this Patriots team should be better than 7-9. Once again, I expect them to be around a 10-win team. Will they win the Super Bowl with a rookie quarterback? Most likely not, but they will be a competitive team, and I do think they'll make the playoffs here in 2021. And I should also mention that the Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore will be out the first 6 weeks with a quad injury. He was once the defensive player of the year in 2019, not too long ago, but I still feel like the Patriots secondary will be fine. They still have J.C. Jackson, Jalen Mills, Kyle Duggar, and Devin McCourty, and of course they have Bill Belichick's scheme on defense, so they will be fine, but it's definitely worth mentioning. Breakout team number 2 for me is the Los Angeles Chargers. They were 7-9 also last year. Now the biggest problems for the 2020 Chargers in my opinion were the head coach and of course the injuries, and the offensive line was a big one as well, and I feel like they upgraded everywhere. They've been healthy so far throughout the preseason, so they're healthy going into week 1. Definitely made their offensive line upgrades, and so far the reviews of Brandon Staley have been very good, although he's not coached a regular season game yet, but so far the reports have been positive from the Chargers. So they got safety Derwin James back from injury. He did not play at all in 2020, and I've said it many times, Derwin James is one of the most special players on defense in the NFL when he's healthy. He's a fantastic tackler, he's versatile, he can guard every position on the field. He is a big difference maker when he's out there, and right now he is healthy. They got guard Matt Filer from the Steelers, very solid guard for them, and played some right tackle as well the past next few years. They got tight end Jared Cook, the veteran from the Saints. They got outside linebacker Kyler Fackrell, who had a nice year for the Giants last year. Center Corey Linsley, who was a great player for the Packers for the past half decade or so. He was an All-Pro last year. They drafted left tackle Rashawn Slater. It was a great value for the Chargers, and left tackle was definitely a big hole they needed to fill. They drafted quarterback Asante Samuel Jr., a guy that I love. Definitely a bit undersized maybe to play on the outside, but I think he'll be fine there in all honesty. And they also drafted wide receiver Josh Palmer, who's been getting very good reviews from his preseason performances and practice. They did lose some guys like Casey Hayward. He's a bit older now, the cornerback. Melvin Ingram, same thing. He had a good Chargers career, but a bit older now. Hunter Henry went to the Patriots, of course. Denzel Perriman left. He went to the Panthers, and I think he went to the Raiders recently. That was weird. And they also lost Trey Turner, who they had for 1 year, but played absolutely terrible, so it's not really a big loss anyway. But overall, as long as Justin Herbert continues to progress in year 2 and doesn't have a sophomore slump, and Brandon Staley is better than the coaches they had last year, this team should be fine, especially the offensive line. Even getting Brian Bulaga back at right tackle should help that team as well. The Chargers are definitely on the uprise, and they could be a scary team in 2021 if everything breaks right. My third breakout team, who was also 7-9 in 2020, I guess to get on this list you have to be 7-9, that's the way it's going so far, but the Minnesota Vikings. So their key offseason additions, of course, were defensive tackle Michael Pierce, who was a COVID opt-out. He had a nice career with the Baltimore Ravens. Now he gets to play with the Minnesota Vikings here. They get defensive end Danielle Hunter back from injury. He had a great start to his career, but missed all of 2020. I believe it was a neck injury, but he will be back now for the Vikings. They get veteran cornerback Patrick Peterson from the Cardinals, who may have another good year of football left in him. We'll find out about that. They get defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson from the Browns, cornerback Brashad Breeland, who was with the Chiefs, won a Super Bowl with them, safety Xavier Woods, a good player from the Cowboys, defensive tackle Dalvin Tomlinson from my Giants, a good run stopper, solid player, linebacker Nick Vigil, who was pretty good for a few years with the Bengals, I believe, and they drafted offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw when they traded down, and they also drafted guard Wyatt Davis in the 3rd round, I believe. They also got Kellen Mond. I don't expect him to play this year as long as Kirk Cousins is fine, but they also have him waiting. Now, as for their key losses, they lost Kyle Rudolph, but he is getting up there in age. I understand that one. Offensive tackle Riley Reif, that may be a big loss for them. We'll find out, especially with Darrisaw missing time here. He's already out for week 1. We'll see how long he's out for. Shouldn't be long, but we'll find out. Safety Anthony Harris went to the Eagles. Linebacker Eric Wilson, I believe, also went to the Eagles. And their cornerback Jeff Gladney, definitely a sad story there for their former 1st round pick. But as a Giants fan, I definitely understand what it's like based on the DeAndre Baker situation that happened last year. But anyway, I don't know if the Vikings have a Super Bowl type ceiling with Kirk Cousins as their quarterback, but I do think this team can go from 7 wins to 10 wins, kind of like the Patriots. I don't know. I feel like the Chargers on this list, they have a Super Bowl potential because Justin Herbert has a chance to be great. And with the Patriots, a rookie quarterback, I believe, has never won a Super Bowl, so I can't put that on the plate for Mac Jones. But if Kirk Cousins makes some type of noticeable leap, it's possible. They kept Gary Kubiak as a play caller for offense, which should be a good move by them in my opinion. We'll see what they can do, but I do think there is a cap on how far they can go in the playoffs. And my last team, breakout team number 4, is the Carolina Panthers. They were 5-11 in 2020. Now, while I don't really expect the playoffs for the Panthers, I do think they'll make a noticeable leap here to 8 or 9 wins. Their key offseason additions, of course, were trading for Sam Darnold, the quarterback from the Jets. They got edge player Hassan Reddick from the Cardinals, cornerback AJ Bouye, who is suspended the first 2 games, but he will be there. Got him from the Broncos. Offensive tackle Cam Irving, who may play left tackle for them. We'll see what happens there. Cornerback Rashawn Melvin from the Lions. Wide receiver David Moore, who will be asked to be like a wide receiver 4 for this team, so that's definitely some good depth there, getting him from Seattle. Tight end Dan Arnold, who's okay. Not who you want as your starting tight end, but I'm sure that will be fine for them. They have other weapons there, of course. Defensive end Morgan Fox from the Rams had a pretty nice year last year. Drafted cornerback J.C. Horn. Drafted wide receiver Terrace Marshall. Offensive tackle Brady Christensen, and tight end Tommy Tremble. This team has a lot of young talent, especially defensively. Derek Brown, Brian Burns, Jeremy Chin, J.C. Horn. If these young defenders take a step and Sam Darnold actually looks better in this type of offense, this team I feel like can definitely make some strides here in 2021. Now, going from Adam Gase to Joe Brady and Matt Rule will definitely be a night and day difference for Sam Darnold, and as long as Darnold's not complete trash himself, he should be better this year, definitely. I do expect Darnold to have a pretty nice year of over 4,000 yards and 25 plus touchdowns. Now, as for their key losses, quarterback Teddy Bridgewater is now with the Broncos. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel, probably their biggest loss, went to the Washington football team. Russell Okung, their left tackle, didn't really stay healthy last year. He remains unsigned, and Mike Davis, their backup running back. And I should mention they do get Christian McCaffrey back. I'm a person that believes running backs don't change your win total too much, but Christian McCaffrey may be an outlier. They definitely use him a ton in the passing game. I'm sure Sam Darnold will give him a ton of targets. If he gets 120 targets, 100 catches again, and Christian McCaffrey can rush for another 1,000 yards, he will definitely be a difference maker here as compared to Mike Davis. So like the Vikings and Patriots, I don't see the Panthers having a Super Bowl type season. You're hoping for a wild card spot probably if you're a Panthers fan, but I do think if the young guys get better sooner than we expect, this could be a team that surprises us here in 2021. And that will do it for this video. So 4 teams that can be breakout teams in 2021 for me. Once again, leave in the comments teams you think may break out here in 2021. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys next time.